Northeast Tonight, brought to you by Oil India Limited, conquering newer horizons.
Hello and welcome to Notice Tonight, the show that decodes the region. Well, viewers, after a bullet train type of a momentum, the Naga peace talks have disappeared from the radar. Someone seemed to have set October 31st as the deadline for the clinching of the elusive Naga deal, and work appeared to have progressed towards meeting that deadline. What has happened then? Christmas has come and gone. The deal is not there, but the center has extended the disturbed area cover in the whole of Nagaland for another 6 months under the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. This act has been in force in Nagaland, ladies and gentlemen, for around 6 decades now. What is holding back the Naga peace agreement? Is it the Nagas' demand of a separate constitution and a flag? Or is it because NSC and IM leaders like Mr. Twingalang Wiva and leaders of some other factions are still sticking to the integration of the Naga areas in the northeast into some sort of a unified administrative unit? What is the situation on the ground in the wake of reports that some Naga rebel leaders have already gone underground once again, with a few moving into China? To discuss this and more, I am joined from Kohima by Naga Hoho General Secretary, Mr. Ilu Endang. Naga Tribes Council leader, Mr. Teza Terry, is also with me from Kohima. From Imphal, I am joined by United Committee Manipur Secretary General Kuraiza Mathoba and Valley Rose, a senior journalist who is the editor of the Aja Daily. And in the studio, I am joined by our news editor, Nabarun Goswami. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Notice Tonight. Straight to you, Mr. Elu Endang. What's going on? After brisk parleys, it appeared as if the Naga deal was about to be signed. People were called. There was hectic parleys in New Delhi, late night meetings, late night press conferences, photos being released, group photos being released. It gave an impression as if this is going to be a different Christmas in Nagaland. But Christmas has come and gone, and nobody is talking about the Naga peace accord. It has sunk into oblivion. It has disappeared from the radar. Mr. Elu Endang, what is going on?
Wasbir, the talks which have been talked about the 31st October, the formal talks, of course, they have concluded. But we are also informed that there are certain issues, key issues, that needs to be re-looked at by both the parties. And therefore, at the moment, they have been working very closely, though it has not been made public. We are hopeful that certain difficulties between the parties, between the government of India and the negotiating parties, hopefully in a few months' time it will be clear.
You are talking in a very measured manner, Mr. Elu Endang. Very careful choice of words there. What am I supposed to understand? Mr. Endang.
See, it is understood that 31st October deadline is over.
Yeah.
Both the parties agreed to conclude the talks. They are working on the competencies. There are certain issues that needs to be resolved by both the parties.
All right.
They are looking at certain issues that can be agreeable to all the parties.
Absolutely. Obviously, a lot of ground needs to be covered. Mr. Teza Terry, what is your reading? Why has the talks, nobody is talking about the talks at least for a couple of weeks now?
Yeah, first of all, Happy Bihu, Mr. Wasbir.
Thank you, Teza. And a Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are still in the old issue. The optimist Nagas are now anxious We are anxious because it is very crucial for our destiny. The long-awaited political solution to one of the longest armed political conflict, had become elusive. People are wandering between truth and hype.
Yes.
Because the negotiations are in between aspirations and realities. And at this moment, we are also informed the formal talk is over, which means it has successfully taken all the negotiators on board for inclusive solution.
Okay.
We want change, we want solution. We don't want to go back to status quo. And that is the reason why we are anxious.
Very well said. That expresses a lot. You have said a lot, Mr. Teza Terry. People are anxious. There has to be a clear, one has to be clear about truth and hype, aspirations and realities. I think you have spoken the mind. A lot of people think alike as you are doing today. I'll come back to you. Let me go to Imphal Valley Rose. I'm coming to you. But before that, Khuraiza Mathoba, a lot of people would like to say that, the concerns expressed by the Métis, by the Manipuris people, particularly the Métis, could be one of the reasons for this delay, because these are sensitive issues in Manipur as well. That issues almost seem to be interlinked. Are you in any way responsible for the delay, Khuraizam?
Well, first of all, Wasbir, let me clarify this through your channel and to you also that we don't represent just Meitei. We represent the entire community of Manipur.
Absolutely, yes.
And till that, we have been trying to address and trying to accommodate all the aspirations of the people of Manipur. Okay. Well, next, we cannot be held responsible for the delays for delaying in the peace talk, because our stand is very clear. We have also, conveyed this to the Honorable Home Minister in our last meeting that we do welcome the early solutions. Having said that, these solutions should not bypass the aspiration of the entire people of Manipur.
Right.
And before, coming up to a final settlement, we only ask for a due consultations to all the stakeholders so that we can, come out with a, consensual mutual agreement, mutual understanding, so that there should not be any kind of, conflict between, between the communities after the agreement is signed. So
all right.
It's as simple as that from our side.
As simple as that. Valley Rose, as Khuraiza Mathoba said that, the people of Manipur have to be taken into confidence. There has to be a mutual agreement before things go, so that things do not go wrong later on. What is your reading, Ms. Valley Rose?
I'm sorry, though the system of my, this thing is not very clear, so I cannot get all the words you are saying. But I just want to express through this channel that the Nagas in the state of Manipur are very much in a confused state. Our people, they want freedom, of course, and the long sufferers in the Naga movement has been the people of Manipur, the Naga people. But at the state, as of now, the talk of the people and the attitude from the central leadership, it shows to the common people of the Nagas here in the state of Manipur that we are likely to be sidelined in all the decision makings. And the talk, the rumors is that the Nagas of Nagaland state are going to enjoy the fruit of all these negotiations, but the people, the Nagas in the state of Manipur are likely to be sidelined in many ways.
But
and that
Ms.
is
Valley
what
Rose,
the people are scared
right,
of.
Ms. Valley Rose,
Yeah.
but facts cannot be hidden, because Mr. Twingalang Muiva, who is the topmost leader of the NSC and IM, who is the topmost negotiator on behalf of the NSC and IM for the past 23 years, is himself a Naga from Manipur.
Yes. Yeah, that is true. And we as the Naga people, we have the confidence, we have the belief that Nagas, any Nagas from anywhere they may be, will not be sidelined. That is what we believe. But
Okay.
it's just because of the talk of the people and then sometimes negative statement from the central government side, that is what is hampering the thoughts of the Naga people, the common people in the state of Manipur.
I'll come back to you. I'll come
we-
back to you, Miss Valley Rose. I'm coming back to you. Nabarun, looking at the situation from a distance, what is the reading? Because the momentum, the hype, as Teza Theri has said, the truth versus hype, aspirations versus realities, and then the most interesting statement coming from Athoba saying that there has to be a consensus, there has to be an understanding, and then Valley Rose saying that the Nagas in Manipur are confused and they fear that at the end of the day they could be sidelined. What is your reading?
Well, Wasbir, first of all, we have to give it to the government of India for creating an environment for the first time ever where a situation in Nagaland today is different than any time in the past. We have to understand, Wasbir, if you remember, before the 2018 Assembly elections, there was this call,
Yes.
solution before election. And today we have Naga Ho leaders, NTC, stakeholders from Nagaland saying discussions are on, everything cannot be made public, negotiations are going on. So what do we read from there? There's a marked change in the approach and how stakeholders, people in general in Nagaland are looking at the entire development. Now, why I say I have to give it to the government of India is because when R.N. Ravi was appointed the governor of Nagaland,
Yeah.
he was tasked with completing the talks by October 31st. There was this lot of hype created around this October 31st deadline, so much so, Wasbir, that it would not be wrong to say that even the NSC and IM, I say NSC and IM because the others, the NNPGs were more or less in line with the government of India's stand on many of the issues, and they were okay with discussing some other contentious issues probably later on. But NSC and IM was firm on its stand that on say things like separate flag, separate constitution. But then what we saw eventually was that October 31st, official talks in a way ended. So even the NSC and IM was under pressure to, in a way, abide by that October 31st deadline. And this is why we see the narrative now, because they cannot, even the stakeholders do not want to go back on the entire thing, because that would mean we are back to square one.
Nobody wants to go back to square one. As Teza Theri said, nobody wants status quo anymore. Everyone wants the things to move forward. Mr. Eluendang, first of all, before we continue with the discussions, I want you to respond to Ms. Valley Rose, one of the leading, independent voices from Manipur. She is a senior journalist, editor of the Aja Daily. She's saying Nagas in Manipur are confused and they fear that they are going to be sidelined as and when the Naga peace talks actually happen. What could be her fear? What is your reading? How do you look at her statement?
You see, it is very unfortunate that there are lots of division among the Naga society. And of course, she is right in saying that there are confusions among the people in Manipur. But one thing we must understand that Naga political issues started not for the state of Nagaland, but for the entire Naga people. Therefore, these misgivings, misunderstandings should not create confusion among the people, but the issue, the objective of the Naga people has to be taken into account.
Okay. Now I'm coming to you, Teza Theri, but Khuraiza Mathoba, you see, when your colleague from, Ms. Valley Rose is saying that the Nagas, in Manipur are anxious, I'm quite aware of the fact that the United Committee Manipur not only stands for the interest of the Métis, but also interest for the Nagas and all other people who are inhabitants of Manipur. I am quite aware of that fact, and therefore I am asking you this question. When an important voice like Valley Rose is saying Nagas in Manipur are confused, they are apprehensive of whether they are going to be sidelined, what could they mean? How are you looking at it? What could be the end result?
Well, I think the reason for apprehensions and whatever, just our Madam Valley Rose has just expressed, I think Manipur is not a factor in that case, in my view, in my personal view, I would say. That could be, the different stands taken up by various, Naga rebel groups who is in the talk, who is in the peace talks. So because of that, there could be some kind of, apprehension and some kind of, distrust between the, rebel groups and their, belonging communities as well. So that could be the reason.
Right.
But from our perspective, we as a Manipuri and every community, not just about Nagas, all the other ethnic communities residing and settling here for ages, we all belongs to the same soil, and we have to coexist together, and we have to move forward together. Therefore, for the better and peaceful future, we have to look forward to a common goal, to a common future. That will be the only option for us if we want to move forward. Otherwise, if we think about parting ways, then that.
Absolutely. Hold your thoughts, Athoba. Let me go to Teza Terry. You know, Teza, I mean, when you were saying, a lot of people are saying, just now, a little while ago, Elu Ndang had also said that, final talks are over. Breakthrough has been achieved. The word breakthrough was also used at that point in time, when all those, formalities like releasing of pictures, etc., took place in New Delhi, where R.N. Ravi, the interlocutor, and the governor was there, where everybody took photographs and so on and so forth, then it was clear that the final talks are over. If that is over, if the final talks are over, what everybody would like to know, obviously, one thing, why is it taking so long to sign on the dotted lines? What is your prediction? Of course, I know that neither the government nor the Naga political groups are saying anything much, but as someone who is well connected, as someone who is already there looking at the situation very closely, what do you think?
Yeah, Wasbir, the formal talk is closed.
Yeah.
Which means they have reached an understanding in all the issues. What is left now is technical, and our interlocutors say it's fine-tuning, how to bring about the logical conclusion for inclusive settlement, agreement, and then for a solution.
What do you mean?
That
What do you
understanding
mean?
have reached
What do you
between
mean?
the
Sorry,
negotiators.
sorry to interrupt you. What do you mean by an inclusive agreement? What is your interpretation of an inclusive agreement?
Yeah, there were parallel negotiations. All the political groups have come on board, and they can sit together, they can sign, and that can bring solution. If the formal talk is over, what is stopping them? I think here they have to be realistic, they have to be pragmatic, and they have to be willing to come into a conclusion. What is lacking here is the political will on the part of the government of India to deliver what is promised.
Lack of political will. Now you see, Valley Rose and Athoba, one direct question. Lot of people are thinking, today thinking that the main reason why the agreement has not been signed yet is the fact that some of the Naga rebel leaders are still insisting on integration of Naga areas. There may not be physical integration, but maybe some kind of an arrangement of a pan-Naga territorial council where the boundaries of the states will not be changed, but where there will be an mechanism to work on the welfare of the Naga people across the state boundaries. Do you think these are some of the critical issues that is delaying the signing of the Naga deal? Valley Rose.
Yeah, I feel that this is one of the reasons which is hampering the early solution or signing the final solution. Because as we know that there are many people, not the Nagas so to say, but there are other people with whom we are living together. They are so much against such policy of having a Naga Territorial Council or anything to do with the Nagas alone. Like for example, in the state of Manipur, to extend some powers like the 6th schedule of Indian Constitution, to have their own authority within their own administration. And all these things are being objected by our neighbors, our fellow people with whom we are living. So I think this is also one of the reasons that is hampering the final solution of the Nagas. And I think this is also very unfortunate in a way, because as we know that in other states in the Northeast India, there are so many other states who are under 6th schedule. And they have their own fund, they have their own government, they manage on their own.
Okay.
They use their own
Right.
funds according to the funds provided.
Absolutely.
So there is nothing wrong to have a 6th schedule within their season.
Okay.
But here in Manipur, our other communities are objecting to that. Then the Nagas, that is also one reason why the Nagas are, confused about, and
Confused
the
and
Nagas
worried.
are
Okay.
not really happy about it.
Okay. I'll be coming to Nabarun and Mr. Elunadang in a minute. I'm coming to both of you. But Kuraiza Mathoba, we are all aware of your stand, as well as the stand of several other civil society groups in Manipur, that you are not going for any further division of Manipur. There is no question of parting with an inch of your territory. This has been your stand. We are aware of that. We know that, and we respect your stand. There may be divergent views, but you are entitled to your views. But the point, my question is, what is the problem if there is a boundaryless Naga Territorial Council where there will be no elections within the state, only welfare issues, development issues like education, healthcare, and other issues? If there is a Naga Territorial Council and they look after the interest of Nagas in Nagaland, Manipur, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, do you have a problem with that? And if so, why?
Say, Wasbir, we need to understand the geopolitical and topographical wise as well as the demography of Manipur first. Manipur was never part of the then Assam province, from which the state of Nagaland was created. We are never part of the Lusai Hills. We are never part of Chittagong Hill Tract or whatsoever. Manipur has survived for so long. In 1,000 years, we have been, surviving as one single entity. By one single entity, I mean political, historical, cultural, social, and in every aspect. If one can imagine for a sovereign nation, we survive as a sovereign nation for so long. Therefore, that cannot be compromised. That's what our stand. And when you talk about the Naga Territorial Council or Naga Territorial Region or whatsoever, there cannot be any particular definitions in the name of one exclusive community. It is not possible in Manipur. Manipur should be the land of the entire ethnic communities who have been living here together for so long. So that's the one condition that we put on to the government of India. It is not possible. You cannot identify. If you are able to identify one particular reason for one particular community, then please enlighten us.
Understood. Yeah. Now, Mr. Eluendang, how do you respond to Khuraiza Mathoba? He has said that there cannot be a separate council or arrangement for one ethnic group. If there is something, it has to be for all the ethnic groups who stay in Manipur. Therefore, Athoba is saying that they are not even prepared. Forget about dismemberment of Manipur. Forget about inclusion of Manipur area into another state called into Nagaland or some other arrangement. But even a boundaryless council, they are opposed. So how do you respond to this? What is the way forward then? How do you move ahead?
You see, my friend has every reason to raise his opinion, views. But here, the reality is that when the Naga people wants to have their own, decide their own future, how can somebody force upon the Nagas to accept them? We understand that Naga people have been living together with our Métis people for ages, for years. But that does not mean that whatever our friend, our neighbor, Métis decides, Naga people will not be able to accept. Naga people have to decide their own future. No other can interfere in this. As much as we respect the rights and aspirations of the Métis people, we also anticipate that Métis people respects the rights and the aspirations of the Naga people, so that we can have a good neighbor with mutual respect for one another.
Now, Nabarun, if you're saying that if you are to accept, if you are to believe that the talks have indeed concluded, if we are to believe that the talks have indeed concluded, do you think that all the sides have factored in some of these issues which our panelists are raising? These are extremely critical issues. You cannot just set aside what Athoba is saying. You cannot just ignore what Mr. Eluandang is saying. You cannot ignore what Valley Rose is saying. You cannot ignore anything what Mr. Thazatheri is saying. Everybody has solid arguments, solid points. Now, do you think when we say that talks have concluded, do you think, what is your reading? How do you feel? Do you think the government of India and the interlocutors have factored all these things into consideration?
In fact, what Khuraiza Mathoba of the UCM and Elwendang just mentioned, there are two diverse opinions. This is the single most important factor that is perhaps holding a final agreement back. Let us be very honest about it. Despite the so-called agreement and a breakthrough, none of the Naga rebel leaders would like to admit that integration of Naga contiguous areas is out of question. They might know, they might be aware that it is next to impossible because the government of India has always been very particular about it, but none would still like to admit. Even recently we had certain reports coming in with the NSCNIM, certain media reports quoting the NSCNIM as saying the government of India has agreed to the unification of Naga contiguous areas, but we could not confirm that from our sources in the NSCNIM, so we are not getting much into that. So clearly the NSCNIM still now and other stakeholders cannot really acknowledge and admit that integration of Naga areas is out of question. Secondly, from the government of India's part, there's a dilemma between both sides. From the government of India's side, what the kind of protests that we witnessed in Manipur, which also picked pace in Arunachal to an extent, the government of India cannot also be too ambitious as far as creating of councils, be it territorial councils, satellite councils is concerned. So this is the dilemma that is probably delaying, and both sides have to be very cautious and understanding to go ahead.
All right, challenge. This is as Nabarun has said, this is the key challenge, and we'll have to wait and watch how the negotiating sides, whether it's the government of India, whether it is the Naga political groups, how they work out a solution, and what is the role of the civil society in this. And let us not completely assume that the talks have concluded and there is no more talks. Perhaps there has to be more talks to come up with a breakthrough, an ultimate breakthrough, so that the signatures can actually be put. I will come back with these questions to all my panelists. Don't go away. I'll be back after this very, very short commercial break. Welcome back. Let me go straight to Mr. Khuraizam Athoba. Khuraizam, what about the interest, what about the aspirations of the thousands of Nagas in Manipur? As a leader of an important organization like the UCM, my question is, don't you also aware of the fact that suppose the Naga peace accord is not clinched, the area could turn into turmoil once again. Don't you think peace is at a premium? For the sake of peace, somebody has to, come up with a little bit of a concession. Yes, I understand there can be no territory ceding, there can be no grant of territory, there can be no parting of away of land. I think people are also pragmatic today. People are only talking about some kind of a boundaryless, territoryless kind of a concern, which will have no political significance in the sense that there will be no elections. There can be only welfare measures. Suppose that is the proposal. Don't you think some concession need to be given in the greater interest of peace and the aspirations of the Nagas in Manipur?
Well, Wasbir, if you want to get the first-hand informations about the aspirations, the real aspirations of the Naga people, especially the Manipur Naga people, then you should come down and interview the common people. For now, I can assure you, for now they won't be in a position to reveal or disclose their aspirations, their wishes, to remain as their part of Manipur, because they have been, victimized from time to time by the armed groups, various armed groups. And with due course of time, definitely the people will come out, and you will know whose voice is more, accommodating, whose voice is more legitimate, who is telling the truth and who is telling the lies, whose aspiration is false, built up in a false idea, and who is telling the truth. All these things, time will reveal. So we have to wait for that time. And let's not go on a negative assumption that if the talks fail, then Manipur will be, peace won't be, what do you say?
No, you are right, but I am not talking only about Manipur. I am talking, see, the entire peace, permanent peace or lasting peace, not just in Nagaland or Manipur, but in several other parts of the Northeast, depends on a peaceful resolution of the Naga issue. Because the Naga insurgency has always been regarded...
Well, in that case, see, in that case, the government of India, first, the government of India should come out with a sincere approach. They should not come out with an agenda. They are dividing us in the name of, giving peace, delivering peace. And we have experienced it in the past. We have been longing with this peace talk for 22 years now.
All right.
What has they been doing for so long?
All right. Now,
when they begin the talk, why don't they make it inclusive?
Okay, I'll come
there
back.
are many
I'll
instances
come back to you.
they took certain
Khuraizam.
unilateral decisions.
Okay. Now, Valley Rose, what is the way forward? How do we break this deadlock? What do you think is the best way to move forward?
To this, I feel that all the communities who are living in the northeastern states of India, we need to come into one basis of understanding, because we all know that Naga movement is the oldest underground movement in the whole of Northeast, as well as in the whole of India, and also in the whole of Asia, or even in the world also, the longest sufferers, the longest fighting group. So to this, we all know that Nagas also do have their own points, what they are demanding for, and why they are fighting for. And this time though, I have no time to go back to all the historic events like that. But I feel that we, the people living together today, as of now, we need to understand each other. we need to respect one another. And unless we respect the other group, we also cannot expect any respect from other groups also. So we have to respect each other, we have to understand each other's problem, and we have to also understand the need, the requirement, the likes and dislikes of the other groups. And if that is the thing that we can do, I think peace will be restored in the Northeast and in India, and for that matter, throughout wherever it is affecting.
Okay.
So as of now, the Nagas really want that our fellow citizens, wherever they may be, either it is in Manipur or Nagaland or Arunachal or Assam, wherever, we need respect.
Okay.
Yes,
absolutely.
Understanding,
Absolutely. That is,
equal
of course,
understanding of each other.
that is universal. Every community group needs respect. Mr. Theza Terry, do you think the problem lies because there has been no comprehensive discussions with the civil society before any kind of major push in the Naga peace process? There has to be discussions, solid, thorough discussions with all different civil society groups, all opinions, and come at a consensus. Do you think, are you satisfied with the discussions by the government of India with not just the negotiating groups, but with the others, civil society groups? Do you think somewhere that was lacking?
Yeah, Mr. Wasbir, I appreciate the concern raised by Mr. Athoba. We need to coexist, and we have to also see the practical contemporary realities. Before solution, after solution, we still have to coexist together. And that is the reason why I feel that there has to be a way out. And that we only need to have goodwill, understanding, and recognize each other's position. What I actually feel is this territorial council need not be community specific, or it need not be ethnic specific, but the Naga domains, geographical areas can very well enjoy this territorial council. I think there has to be somewhere understanding can reach. I think there's no much difficulty once we understand each other's position.
Okay. Mr. Eluandang, that is an interesting suggestion given by Theza Terry. I'm going to take this to both Nabarun and Athoba. Yes, Mr. Eluandang, what is the way out actually? That is the important thing.
You see, there has been consultations in the past years with civil society groups,
Right.
with the interlocutor, with the government of India and the stakeholders. We have had enough round of discussions. Many views and opinions have been forwarded to the government of India. Unfortunately, till today, the government of India is not in a position to take decisions because they lack political will. If government of India decides to resolve this matter, this issue, it can take place any time from now. But they keep shifting the reasons, citing the reasons for one or the other, which is not a very good sign for the Naga people. At one point of time, we had a difficult situation where different Naga political groups were having a different opinion.
Yeah.
But at this moment, all the groups have come together looking for a solution. Now, it depends, it depends on the government of India to decide.
Okay. So this is one major positive thing is the unification, or for that matter, not unification, all the Naga groups shedding their differences and coming together under some common platform. That is a huge progress made in the Naga peace process, as you have very rightly said, Mr. Eluandang. But Mr. Athoba, you know what, Mr. Tezateri has come up with a very interesting indication. He has not spelt it out, but he has indicated that yes, you also said that a development council or a territorial council, whatever we name it, that need not be ethnic specific. It can be a development council. It can be a northern area development council, southern area development, whatever name you give. Without the name of an ethnic group, it can be a development council where the people who live in a certain geographical area, everybody enjoys the benefit. Isn't that a good idea, Khoraisam?
Well, see, Wasbir, first of all, the government of India cannot make decisions from such kind of debate. What they need to do is they have to come out, you know, and
why not? If you give a good suggestion, definitely from this debate they can pick up few points.
No. See. Let's be practical. See,
Yeah.
Government of India has to come out with a process to consult with the stakeholders. If they think the people of Manipur is very much important in this, bringing up to a final settlement, then they should take the people of Manipur on board, and they should share informations, what they have been discussing, what the Naga groups are demanding, what they are willing to give them, what they are not going to give them. It has to be shared officially to us. Otherwise, they cannot just pick up from, debates and public speech and discussions. They have to come out officially. That's what I have been proposing, I have been suggesting to them. When we had a meeting with the Home Minister recently, we told them that whatever we want to, whatever they want to do, they should consult with the people of Manipur. They should come out clean. They should come out with certain, points, certain informations. Till date, let me tell you this, till date, now talks has been almost 22 years completed, and till date, we are never being, we have never been kept, we are never being, taken into account. Into account and shared any information what is going on.
Okay.
So whatever
we
are doing is on the basis of assumptions and speculations.
People from Manipur needs to be taken
So
into
that will
confidence.
not. Yeah, very much.
Yes. Now,
Otherwise, how could we take decisions on the
Okay.
pretext of assumptions?
Okay.
That's
Now,
impossible.
Valley
That
Rose,
cannot never happen.
Valley Rose, this is a genuine concern? Is this a genuine concern? Because in Nagaland, the government has said, Mr. Elu Andang, the General Secretary of Naga Ho, has said that there has been several rounds of talks with the civil society and the government. They have taken opinions of various stakeholders in Nagaland. What has been the situation in Manipur? Do you think that is extremely important? And even now, do you think the government of India should talk to major groups, civil societies and organizations in Manipur? Do you think it is important?
Yeah, that is a very important thing. We also feel, all the time we feel and we talk among ourselves also that the government of India needs to take certain steps to communicate with the common people, especially of the state of Manipur, all the stakeholders. But we don't see much of that. We know that some leaders of some organizations, whether some civil society organizations and so on, they may go and meet the central leaders, and sometimes whenever they come to the state of Manipur, there might be some kind of meeting and like that, but they have not taken up such step where all the people, stakeholders can come and listen to them and give their views and also take their views so that they can come to some kind of understanding. As of now, as I see it, the different communities are having their own set of meetings. Like the Nagas have our own meetings, and they do their awareness camps wherever they feel they think is necessary. And likewise, among the Meitei people also, they organize some meetings, but then there were no Nagas, there were no Nagas' voice, there is no question of any Nagas' opinions and so on. And likewise, among the Nagas also, there is no other voice,
right,
whether Meiteis or Cookies or whatsoever. So it has been all in their own different ways. And these things are not meeting at any point.
Okay.
So I feel that there should be provisions the space which should be created for all the people to come and participate in such discussions and give their opinions and understand each other.
Okay.
So
That's
that
a very important,
we know
very
that what the
important
meetings
point.
are speaking, they have a point.
Right, very important point you are making there, Valley Rose. Nabarun, you know, this is if both Athoba, you must have heard both Athoba and Ms. Valley Rose is saying that there has been hardly any discussions with groups in Manipur. So, I mean, that is, if that is so, I think it is surprising.
Absolutely. First of all, going back to what Elu Andang has said a short while back, that the centre lacks political will. Let's be honest, the Modi government has shown enough political will to try and resolve the decades-old Naga issue. But where it has failed, where it lacked vision, is perhaps taking the other states in the region, be it Manipur, be it Arunachal, be it Assam, on board. Now, it's unfortunate that we are discussing these points today in this debate when the deadline for the talks are supposed to have ended on October 31st.
And the final discussions are supposed to have been over.
Absolutely. These suggestions should have cropped up. If they would have involved the stakeholders from other states, these the suggestions would have already been there. And sadly, if for all practical reasons, if we consider, it may be too late in the day today to have a full-fledged discussion with, say, all stakeholders, civil society bodies, pressure groups from Manipur and other states. If the centre now wants to do that, I'm afraid we might not see a solution to the Naga issue for another 4 years.
Absolutely. I think that is what is shocking. Mr. Tezatheri, I'm running short of time. Your final comments. Now, the issue is, you know, now, do you think there is lack of transparency that is also creating a lot of mistrust in the neighborhood? Okay, the Nagas today may be in a slightly better position because, you know, the leadership are all located in Nagaland. The Naga political group leaders are in Nagaland. So, some kind of accurate information may be trickling in. So, the Nagas in Nagaland are in a slightly better position than people outside. Do you think, you know, how do you look at it and what is your concluding remarks? Tezatheri.
Yeah, whoever are negotiating with government of India, they represent all the Naga areas. And what they have discussed, and when they have amicably agreed to close the formal negotiation, that means the issues are being discussed and understanding have reached.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, Government of India also have given hearing to all different sections of people. Now they have collected all the opinions, the concern of all the section of people. At the moment, what I can see is, if there is a political will, if there is magnanimity on the part of the government of India, they can really translate all this talk into reality. That is a solution.
Absolutely.
And solution is not the end at itself. Solution is a means. Solution is only a means for peaceful coexistence in the region.
For peaceful
and that
coexistence,
is possible if a solution is brought
absolutely
about.
correct. For peaceful coexistence and perhaps a new beginning. Elu and Dang, 20 seconds to you. How do you conclude?
Well, I would repeat once again that government of India lacks political will. Why? Because no doubt the Honorable Prime Minister of India has announced to the world that there will be a peaceful solution to the Naga political problem. But his announcement has gone into a thin air. Year after year, assurances after assurances, nothing is taking place. We are made to believe that his government, under his strong leadership, solution will take place soon. But we have entered another year again.
Absolutely.
So I still say that government of India lacks political will to resolve this issue. Number two, I will still say that government of India still continue to divide the people in the region.
We only wish things change and status quo does not remain. We want progress. Athoba, your concluding remarks, 20 seconds. Very quickly.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, the government of India has already committed two big mistakes in the past. One is when they declared a unilateral decision by signing the ceasefire agreement without territorial limits, which they retracted later on. Secondly, when they took another decision, signing the, declaring the sudden signing of the framework of agreement, which was, kept in the dark to the people of Manipur till now. And this has multiplied to the people of Manipur. Their discontentment has multiplied very much now. So if they commit another mistake by taking a unilateral decision, and that too against the interests of the people of Manipur, then, we don't know what is going to happen next.
Okay, there's a
Therefore,
huge
the
note
government
of
of India
caution
should be
there.
very cautious.
Absolutely,
and they
your
should try
point
to
has been
accommodate.
noted.
They should try
I'm
to
running
accommodate
short of
all the
time.
aspirations.
Your point has been noted. Huge note of caution. The Nabarun, very quickly, concluding remarks, 10 seconds.
Yes, first things first, the centre and the GOI, the Government of India and the NSNIM should first go ahead and make public what pact, what understanding they have reached at, because that has to be acceptable. If they're not sure whether that will be acceptable or not, it may create a situation of tension. So that has to be the first thing that should be made known if the solution is just around the corner.
Okay, you're basically talking about the need to being transparent. The last word to the lady, Ms. Veli Rose, what are your concluding remarks? 20 seconds to you, very quickly.
I feel that the government of India, the leaders, must have strong political will. They know what is what. They know the points of the Nagas. They know why the Nagas are fighting for so long. And it is also said that they have recognized the realities, the history of the Nagas and the situation of the Nagas. And if they have realized the reality of the Nagas, then there should be no any problem that hampers them from taking stern action to bring a solution, to sign an agreement, whichever should be best for all the people in this region.
Okay.
I feel that they need to have a strong political will.
We from Northeast Live is also expecting an early end of the Naga political problem to the satisfaction of all concerned. That is extremely important for lasting peace. And yes, we must also acknowledge the fact that the Narendra Modi government has demonstrated a lot of interest in resolving this issue, and now they should go much more steps forward. They have to take several steps forward to tie up the loose ends and get the Naga peace deal with signatures on the dotted lines, and of course an agreement that is acceptable to all concerned, an agreement that can lead to a new beginning in the Northeast and not create new fronts. With that hope, I end this edition of Northeast Tonight. I thank all my panelists for being very, very proactive with their views with this, and thank the viewers for participating or watching the show. Good night and goodbye.